Hey everybody, welcome here. My name is Zay. I am super excited to be starting this YouTube channel. Just making sure I'm in focus. I've always wanted to have some kind of platform where I can connect with people and talk about things that involve self-care, self-love, mental health, self-worth, self-value. I just never knew where to start. But last year I was just thinking and contemplating, and I'm like, 2024 is the year I'm going to stop having major self-doubt. I'm going to affirm to myself that regardless of the outcome, if I enjoy doing something, I could just do it. I just said, you know what? I'm going to start this channel. I'm not going to care about what I'm saying to myself, the self-doubt I'm feeding myself. It's over with. I am just going to put myself out there, and I know that my message will reach the people that it needs to. These are just my perspectives and my life experiences, and I'm super excited to share it with you all. I want to start this channel out by talking about 2024 goals. Now, I know that typically when you're doing like a New Year's resolution, people are mostly talking about action items that are very surface level. That most people talk about New Year's resolutions is like action items that are very tangible. Now, the takes I have are very under the surface, only because I know that I can't present myself or show up into the world if I'm not right within. So a lot of my goals are internal, and I want to talk about them. So let's get into it. So I kind of wrote them down in terms of like mantras. So I'm going to say them and then I'm going to explain what they mean. So I'm like a mantra girl. When I'm going through something, I need to hear it and then rehear it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm back into it. I release the past and I welcome love into my life with an open heart. Now for me, that means the past for me is me being like under a rock, being very closed off, being very isolated, feeling very depressed and feeling worthless and not having a high self-esteem. That was the old me, because the new me is here. I'm right here. Because the new me, she don't play like that. She don't even get into that, okay? For me, that means that I'm walking into this new light with an open heart, welcoming love and light into my life, and just like having an open heart. It just means being intentional about having an open mind, having an open heart. For me, releasing the past is just like letting those old feelings go, letting that old narrative that I'm not worthy and those negative self-thoughts and that negative self-talk, that debilitating self-doubt that I have to get rid of. Like, that's me stepping into this new year. This is like a new chance to revive myself, to reimagine my life, to be the designer and the architect and create the most beautiful and intricate and detailed life for myself. Definitely romanticizing myself in all forms and taking control of my life. People that are in it, the things that I do, the things that I eat, the things that I intake, the media that I see, the people I choose to follow, the media especially, the things that I choose to follow and subconsciously allow and subconsciously allow to influence my way of life, my way of thinking, my way of seeing things, my perspectives. That's the part of me that I'm letting go. Like, I'm being very intentional about the things that I intake and the things that I see and the things that I follow and the things that I allow to influence me. I'm letting all of that go. I'm also letting go, again, that debilitating self-doubt, negative wording, those unloving parts of me. I have to let go because I want to let love in. The only way that I can let love in is if I project it outwardly, because what you put out is what you get in return. So if I'm putting out love, if I'm being kind to myself, if I'm being loving to myself, the world is going to radiate that back to me. So I have to be very conscious about what I'm putting out so that I can ensure that whatever I'm getting back is equal to the matter that I'm putting out. The next one is I forgive myself and others. I'm freeing myself from the chains of the past. For me, that means forgiving myself is a huge one, because I feel like I spent majority of my late teens, early adulthood very depressed, very isolated, very lonely, very closed off, and I feel very guilty sometimes about my wasted so-called potential or wasted time that I felt like I wasted because I did not put myself first. I really lacked in the areas of self-love, self-value, and I sold myself short a lot, and I wasn't kind to myself or loving to myself, and that projected onto others that they can be unkind and unloving to me. I wasn't being my biggest cheerleader, and that allowed people to say, we don't have to cheer her on, we don't have to be kind to her, we don't have to respect her, we don't have to love her. She doesn't even do it for herself. That's not to say that if you are not loving yourself, or you're not being kind to yourself, or if you're struggling with your mental health, that doesn't mean that you're unlovable or that people shouldn't love and respect you. It just so happens that when you're in that kind of spiral, or you're in a rut like that, you're more likely to attract people who don't love you and who don't care about you and who will treat you like crap, because you're unable to recognize who treat you like crap, because it's harder for you to recognize what love is, what kindness is, what gentleness is, what forgiveness is, what tolerance is. You're not even giving it to yourself. How could you identify that in somebody else? You're not really giving it to yourself. Now, on the surface level, we can say, oh, we know what those things are, but do you really know how they feel and what they are if you're not even giving it to yourself? It's kind of, I don't think it's beyond anybody to expect love when you're not loving yourself, because we're all human and we all yearn for love and comfort and community. But it is very hard to identify love and kindness and respect when you're not doing it for yourself. And I feel like that's why a lot of people end up in very abusive situations, because they probably didn't have love and kindness and support from their initial community, meaning their immediate family or whoever raised them. That could be an aspect, or it could just be a low self-worth and a low self-value. If you don't have a high self-esteem and you don't treat yourself in the highest regard, you're okay with people giving you the mediocre treatment and treating you like shit. And I think that's why a lot of people get into these situations, because if I'm already at a low level myself, it's okay if somebody comes in my life and they meet me where I am, you know? So the higher you elevate, the higher you treat yourself, the higher standard you put yourself on, you are going to automatically expect others to have that same regard for you. Okay, we're off topic. I always get deeper than what I need to be on. I always go off the boat, but just stick with me. The next mantra is, I'm worthy of love and I let go of anything that doesn't serve me. Now, for me, this means, especially like I said, like I was pretty closed off for a really long time. So I'm really comfortable in my solitude, and sometimes that's to my detriment, because I have a hard time connecting and creating like relationships and community, because I was so closed off, and I'm really independent in that way of like I can do a lot of things by myself. But that doesn't go to say that like I don't feel loneliness, or I don't feel the urge to have like a lot of friends. And don't get me wrong, I have a handful of friends who are super supportive, super amazing women that I am just so grateful to know. But my heart is open to make more community. But before I do that, I really need to take some time to internalize the fact that I am worthy of love and I deserve love in all forms. I'm worthy of having solid community, great relationships. However, I'm very picky with who I allow in my space, and like I'm 100% okay with that, because I know that the love I give is very genuine. And for my friends, I feel like I hold them to a really high standard, because I know how I am as a friend. So it's like I have to make sure that the people that are entering in my life have the attributes that I have. I always say that people's friends are genuinely a reflection. You know, like you used to hear that growing up, like your parents be like, oh, you are equal to the people that you hang out with. Now that I'm older, I really understand that your friends are genuinely reflections of you. Like they show the most beautiful parts of you. Depending on the friend group, if you have a very positive, loving friend group, that's a big thing to me. Like having women around me that I know are genuine, who love me, who support me, because I feel like when I look at my friends, I see them as the most beautiful reflections of myself. Letting go of things that no longer serve me. So I want to get into that. I actually want to talk about this because the pinpoint here is that letting go, not of like physical things or people, it's more about myself. And I feel like a lot of time when people say, oh, I'm letting go of nothing that longer serves me, they're talking about like people and things. And honestly, for me, the things that no longer serve me are honestly inside of me. I need to let go of self-doubt. Like, even with starting this channel, I had some self-doubt, but I'm like, hey girl, like, no, we are gonna start this. We have been talking about this, like, we have to do it. Like, I have to let go of feeling as if I'm incapable. The parts of me that I need to let go is not feeling like I belong in spaces because I don't have it all together. And I feel like nobody actually has it all together. And I feel like in the age of social media, it's so easy to compare your life. The grass is always greener. And even if that's not true, even if people are genuinely like what they present on social media, everybody has parts of them that they're not showing. So it's like you see a time lapse of a small portion of somebody's life. You never see the full picture. And when we're constantly online and we're constantly intaking so many images on a subconscious level, we're intaking so many different concepts, ideas, perspectives. A lot of these things that we're carrying around aren't even our own. They're just things that we internalize that we're trying to fit into our narrative when God has painted us a more intricate and beautiful trajectory that we can't even comprehend. But we're so busy comparing our lives to people that we don't even know. We just like the way the aesthetic of their life looks. We don't know their full story. We're missing our own blessings. And that's another thing I want to work on is gratitude. Understanding that what's for me will never miss me, and honing into the things that I have, and showing gratitude instead of wanting more. Being grateful for what is in front of me in the moment and taking care of it and loving it. Now, a big thing for me is taking care of myself. I feel like in these last 2 years, especially post-COVID, it's been like a very survival. I feel like I've been in like a huge survival mode, and I feel like this year I'm really prioritizing moving my body, taking care of myself. I feel like a lot of us have struggled with like the pandemic weight gain, and it's really impacted my self-esteem. So I feel like for me, I'm really working on, I really feel like for me, it's really just like prioritizing my health in all forms, but mostly my mental and physical health. So I wrote down like, I prioritize self-care, and my well-being is a priority, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one will. You cannot be there for people or love people if you're not doing it for yourself. So I feel like for me, it's really going to be just picking up my phone, hey, love you, can't talk, or just not answering at all. Do not disturb me all year. I just need to take care of myself. Now, for me, that looks like, and for everybody it's different, but for me, it means like monthly facials, massages, going to the spa monthly, maintenance for my hair, maintenance for my waxes, maintenance for my nails. Me personally, when I'm stressed out, I tend to neglect myself, and this year I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm absolutely done with that. Like, I'm putting myself first. I'm loving myself enough to know that I deserve to take care of me. So this year, the big theme is like mind, body, soul, all connected. If one is in balance, everything is in balance. So I'm really honing into my rituals. I deserve moments of peace and rejuvenation in my daily life. For me, I feel like I like to practice rituals. I like to have time for deep reflection and stretching and, you know, connecting with myself. Now, for the last 3 years, I'm telling you, I have been so disconnected, and this year I'm just taking control over my life in that aspect. Like, I must take care of myself in that regard, and I'm just super excited for 2024 for me to house that. My mind, body, and spirit deserve nourishment every day. I have to have some kind of restorative moment where I am practicing some kind of mindfulness, moving my body, whether that's like walking, stretching, doing yoga, going to the gym, like I have, or lifting weights in my room. Like, I have to do something that's going to restore my body. Spirit, I feel like, now I don't know what everybody is into, but for me, prayer and reflection are big proponents of me spiritually aligning myself where I need to be. When I'm not doing that, I am so out of whack and out of balance, and this year I'm really prioritizing just taking care of that and making sure that I'm always doing it. For me, I feel like it's all about just the discipline aspect of it. I really struggle with being disciplined, but this year, like, I am taking accountability for being more disciplined, because if I'm disciplined in one area of my life, especially with prayer, it trickles to all areas. When you can be disciplined for God, these worldly affairs will never shake you. I choose activities that bring me joy and contribute to my inner peace. Now, I used to try to do workouts that I see girlies on TikTok doing, on Instagram doing. You really have to hone in and figure out what exactly works for your body. Like, you can't just follow what you see influencers doing. Like, you have to figure out what is good for your body. Like for me, for instance, I can't do HIIT. It's not for me. I'm not a HIIT girly. I can do slow movement resistance training. I could do yoga. I'm not a Pilates girl. I'm a yoga girl. Now, I know Pilates are just like on the floor, but I enjoy being up. It's like you have to figure out what works for your body. You can't just do what, again, being careful on a subconscious level about what we're intaking, because you could be living a life that's not even for you. Like, it's not for you at all. You have to really sit down, get off the phone, stop scrolling, and think about what works for you and what feels good for you. The last one, I'm deserving of kindness, and I treat myself with compassion. Now, I feel like this is super huge for me, because I feel like when I'm not being kind to myself, I'm not being kind to the world. How we feel on the inside is just projected on the outside. And that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to talk to you guys about for my 2024 goals. Definitely go in the comments and tell me what's yours, what resonated with you, what your 2024 goals look like underneath the surface. Want to do X, Y, and Z, but it's like, how can you get there if you're not working on the inside first? You know what I mean? We all need to reflect more deeply on what we want to do in our core. This concludes my first YouTube, and I'm just super excited to see where this year takes us on YouTube. And I wish everybody a happy new year, and drop in the comments what kind of content you guys would like to see from me next.